Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's Cabinet meeting. First of all, some housekeeping. The fire evacuation procedures for evening meetings are that there are no fire alarms scheduled for this evening. Therefore, if the alarm does sound, please evacuate the building immediately. The fire exit is located at the rear of this room. Please go down the stairs and meet in the War Memorial Park. For webcasts, we webcast all of our meetings, so if you are present at our meeting, you are giving permission for you and your contribution to be webcast live on the internet. And for everybody in the room, as far as mobile phones are concerned, please can you switch them on to silent or off? That would be greatly appreciated. On to our agenda for this evening. First item is apologies for absence. I don't think we've had any apologies for absence. Everybody's here. Declarations of interest, anybody, my colleagues? No, thank you very much. Then moving on to urgent matters. We do have one urgent matter. Often urgent matters are bad news and things that we need urgent decisions for, but we do have an urgent matter which is good news. And if I could hand over to Councillor Vox.
Thank you, Chair. The Cabinet will recall that there was unanimous agreement at last October's full council meeting to achieve white ribbon accreditation to demonstrate the council's continued commitment to address inequality in all of its forms, and in particular end male violence against women and girls. Men's violence towards women is rooted in gender inequality, and as a society, we have taken great strides to address inequality and diversity. As a woman, I celebrate that I have had so many more choices, freedoms, and opportunities that my mother did not have. And I acknowledge all those people over the years who have sacrificed and campaigned to bring these changes about. However, we are not there yet. White Ribbon tells us that 1 in 3 women still experience domestic violence. 1 in 2 women experience harassment in the workplace, and even higher rates of harassment in public places. 9 in 10 girls have experienced sexist name-calling, which is shameful and worrying for the next generation of women. Worst of all, 120 to 150 women are killed by men every year. We must do everything we can to change societal attitudes so that women and girls feel safe and free from harassment at work, at school, in their leisure time, when walking home at night, at any time. Any situation where men and boys feel safe, women and girls should also feel safe. We all have a responsibility and a part to play in creating environments where women and girls can live the lives they want to lead without fear of violence. Last year, we undertook a comprehensive needs assessment to inform strategic commissioning of domestic abuse services and pathways in the borough. It comprised consultation with local partner organisations, providers and users of local services, the wider local community and survivors of domestic abuse. This analysis identified areas of good practice, gaps in provision and/or policy, and a series of strategic objectives and recommendations, including white ribbon accreditation. I am therefore delighted to be able to announce this evening that following dedicated work by officers, Basingstoke and Dean Borough Council has achieved white ribbon accreditation. And this is the certificate, all nicely framed for all to see. It is a testament to the borough's culture to be caring and respectful of each person, whether a resident, councillor or employee, that this achievement is a natural progression building on work already underway in the borough to address inequality and community safety. This includes the work of the Community Safety Partnership and the Basingstoke Domestic Abuse Forum, as well as the investment the administration has made in specialist practitioner support and making our neighbouring authorities to support the County Council's duties to support victims of domestic abuse and make an active contribution to the county-wide domestic abuse response. The borough will be marking Global White Ribbon Day on the 25th of November, encouraging men to become white ribbon ambassadors and women white ribbon champions, and to wear a white ribbon to show our support, as we are doing this evening. It is a day when we can all focus on the good that can come from unifying and supporting a common cause. I would also like to highlight that while White Ribbon focuses specifically on men's violence against women and girls, we must not forget that men also experience domestic abuse, which we also abhor. There are a number of charities working in this field, including Mankind, established over 20 years ago, which offers support to men who experience domestic abuse. Mankind does not offer accreditation. However, I am assured that the work we are doing to address violence against women and girls sits within a broader strategic perspective that addresses and seeks to end violence in all of its forms and supporting anyone who is affected by it. Finally, I would like to thank the many council staff across all departments who have been instrumental in achieving our White Ribbon accreditation, and in particular the community safety and housing teams for their hard work and commitment to addressing violence and antisocial behaviour in the borough. I will now hand over to my Cabinet colleague for Homes and Regeneration, Councillor Sam Carr, who also has an important announcement to make on an associated topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Vox. I welcome this Council's achievement of the White Ribbon accreditation, which is the next step in this compassionate Conservative administration's important work to help combat domestic abuse. Improving the safety of our residents is a top priority for this Conservative administration, and I commend Councillor Vox for her leadership in this area. She will continue this essential work, collaborating with our partners at the County Council and across the voluntary sector to help raise awareness of signs of domestic abuse and provide support to victims. As Cabinet Member for Homes and Regeneration, I have been struck by the unfortunate role that domestic abuse and domestic violence plays in the casework coming before our housing team. Too many of our housing and homelessness cases involve incidents where domestic abuse has been a factor, with residents coming to us for housing support because of the abuse in their homes, or indeed afraid to seek help earlier because of violence and intimidation. This is often men towards women and girls, but we have seen the same challenges in same-sex relationships across the borough. These are often the most difficult, complicated and distressing cases that we face. Understanding these challenges and the need to shape our service to meet them, this Conservative administration is starting work to achieve the Domestic Abuse Housing Alliance accreditation, with the aim of improving the safe accommodation and support service we can offer to victims of domestic abuse. DAHA, D-A-H-A, is a national partnership committed to improving the housing sector's response to domestic abuse. It does this through the adoption of a set of standards within organisations, embodied within an accreditation process. Working with key partners, Basingstoke has become a national leader in our trailblazing work with rust sleepers and vulnerable single homeless. This Conservative administration wants to apply that same commitment and momentum to our partnership work and housing response towards domestic abuse. We have already started to evaluate how we can improve our housing team's response, recently appointing a strategic housing lead for domestic abuse to bolster this council's specialist expertise in this area. This Conservative priority will also be reflected as we seek to update our housing and homelessness strategy over the coming months. I look forward to further discussing this agenda with members at CEP in January. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you very much, Councillor Box and Councillor Carr. I think just to add to that comments that we've heard tonight, I would like to just to extend my thanks. Many people emailed me, whether they be members, whether they be members of the public, whether they be officers, after the debate that was had in this chamber about White Ribbon. And I think for many of us, it was one of the most moving and special evenings that we've had in this chamber. And actually, often said, much is said about initiatives and whether they're just talk. In this case, talking helped a lot of people, and also it translated into really positive action so that we do everything that we can to support residents who have been victims, but also how we support perpetrators to no longer perpetrate these actions in the future. So a sign where talking is important, but it's equally as important that we follow that through with action. And I would like to thank everybody for all of their work in this area. It's a really, really powerful thing that we've done, and I think we should all be rightfully proud of it. So thank you very much, everybody. Moving then on to, because we don't have any other urgent matters, the minutes of the meetings on the 27th of September 2022 and the minutes on the 11th of October 2022. Can I sign these as a true and accurate record, colleagues? Great. Brilliant, thank you very much. Then we come to the motion referred from Council on 20th of October 22, local plan and planning. The following motion, as it's referred to in the papers, is put to us and to steer the Cabinet in its role in providing representatives of the people of Basingstoke and Deane a local plan that we can all support, embodying all of the principles that were discussed and have been espoused in all of the conversations that we've had. Councillor Ganesh, I don't know whether you wanted to comment on the motion.
Thank you, Leader. As portfolio holder, support the intentions of the motion and the central importance of the views of the local community in shaping the change in the borough. The council has an adopted local plan in place, and the local plan update is being shaped by the involvement of members, stakeholders, various committees during this year. And we are at a very early stage with significant statutory stages of consultation still to come. On the 27th of September, the Cabinet made a decision to take more time to consider a suitable housing figure for the borough, recognise the importance of keeping the plan process going, but in a way that directly respond to local concerns and local circumstances can have impact on residents. So the motion is noted, and the team will be acting on it.
Thank you very much, Councillor Ganesh. Any other comments from my colleagues? No. In that case, we'll move to item 6, which is the motion referred from Council on the 20th of October 2022, which is about the Business Support Fund as far as cost of living pressures. Councillor Isaac.
Oh, right. I may need to take a minute.
Oh, well, I suppose it's fair to say it may just be worth repeating the conversation that we had on the full council meeting regarding this, that says, of course, we do have our £1 million cost of living alleviation fund, and as part of that review of all those people that have applied and also the pressures that have been happening to businesses with the cost of living, that we are going through a process of reviewing whether the fund is enough, what the criteria is for our individual households, but also what support we can offer businesses with the cost of living pressures. And I believe you undertook the challenge to look at those actions and what we may be able to do to support businesses. Councillor Isaac.
Yes, thank you very much, Leader, for reminding me of this. And yes, I did undertake in the chamber that officers will look at this, and we will come back in due course with any recommendations. in relation to the problems that small businesses in the borough are likely to encounter as a result of the energy crisis.
Thank you very much, Councillor Isett. Moving then on to agenda item number 7, which is the Council Plan 2023-24, which is on pages 25 and 26 of our pack. Just to go through what the recommendations are. So we have the recommendation to agree that the consultation is carried out for the draft Council Plan 2023 to 2027. We have started some of that consultation already with the draft and helping its formation. Myself and the Chief Executive have spent many mornings in the last 10 days speaking to public sector partners, small businesses, medium-sized businesses and large corporates across the borough and have started seeking their views. I think it's important to say at this point, as far as the draft council plan, it sets out our overall priorities and what we want to achieve for our residents, our businesses, our borough, our visitors, and will guide everything that we do going forwards. It doesn't include everything that we do. I think when myself and the Chief Exec sat down and looked at the breadth of our service lines, we ended up with over 300 service lines as a district council, and it's very difficult to articulate all of those, but really important that we focus on our priorities and be really clear about what our priorities are as a council for the borough over the next 4 years, and the council plan does that in draft form. It's really clear about being supported by our guiding principles, which sets out how we will work to achieve the priorities, and also within the draft budget, what budget's required to deliver on those priorities, what that impact that has on our medium-term financial strategy, and how we will fund delivering on our priorities. We have 3 priorities in the draft council plan. It's really key that as a borough, we remain being the place where people can live well, and it's important that we maintain that even with the pressures of the cost of living, where we have a borough where the environment can flourish. We have declared our climate emergency, we have declared an ecological emergency, we are truly focused on biodiversity improvement. And also that when we look at our frontline services, that not only do they provide value for money, but they are delivering services that are truly of a high quality and one that our residents would expect from us. The plan outlines the actions that we will take to achieve these priorities, the overall timescales, the measures that we will use to test that we are being successful, and working with our colleagues across the council to make sure that we evaluate those to ensure that we are doing what we said we would do. And really set out what actions will be done to deliver those priorities in a range of strategies, service plans, programming and project plans, documents which we have are many, and that those plans contain more detailed actions where teams are allocated, partners are worked with, contractors are deployed, and are really vital and high quality and well valued employees have everything that they need to deliver those priorities. Some of those actions, of course, will be delivered by ourselves, but many of them will be delivered by our partners with us and with others. And we will do what we can do to convene those partners and represent our residents so that collectively we do everything that we can to deliver on our residents' expectations and desires. And we have set out really clearly in the document, probably the most clearly we have ever set out, what things we will directly deliver and what we will do and who we will work with to deliver the rest. And I'm sure our residents will support us as a collective within the council to do that on their behalf, on our businesses' behalf, and all those people who come and visit our wonderful borough. So that is our council plan. It's set out in the documentation. Colleagues, I don't know whether there's anybody other comments. Councillor Isett?
Yes, Leader, I'd just like to say that how much I welcome this new local plan. It's important that this is done. And updating is required with everything that's happened over the recent times. I think it's very well informed by the resident survey that was carried out recently. And as council plans go, I think this version is unusually clear and concise, with key priorities outlined. And I think it's going to enable us to monitor performance very well over the next 4 years. I really applaud all the guiding principles that underpin it. And I look forward, like you, to receiving the feedback from our residents and stakeholders, which I'm sure will be constructive. And I think it'll act as an ongoing reminder and route map for councillors and officers in the years ahead. So I'd like to offer my congratulations to the authors. I think you had a large part in it, and so did the Chief Executive, for all your intelligent hard work in getting us to this stage.
Thank you very much. Councillor Isaac, any other of my colleagues wish to pass any comments? No. In that case, can I have your agreement to agree the recommendations so that the draft council plan does go out for consultation? Brilliant. Thank you very much. Then we move on to agenda item 8, which is the draft proposals for the 2023-24 budget and revised medium-term financial strategy 2023-24 to 2026-27, which are on pages 57 to 100 of our pack. Councillor Isaac, I don't know whether you wanted to introduce the paper.
Yes, I'd be nice to. You'll note that Cabinet is asked to recommend 5 points. I'm pleased to present the proposals for a balanced budget for 2023-24 and an update of the medium-term financial strategy assumptions through to 26-27, which shows a residual budget gap which will need to be addressed, but I'm confident will be. These proposals aim to deliver on this council's priorities for our residents as outlined in the proposed new council plan. The MTFS sets out a four-year plan to ensure we maintain a stable and sustainable fiscal position capable of meeting further foreseeable risks, including inflation and its impact on our residents and their families, and potential higher levels of unemployment, unfortunately. Our strong balance sheet, diversified investments, sizable reserves and absence of borrowings enables this council once again to assist residents and businesses alike. In particular, I would draw your attention to proposals to freeze our share of council tax. So we're likely to have one of the lowest council taxes in Hampshire, if not the lowest. In addition, we want to freeze our car parking charges, which will help both residents and businesses, and also our charges for the popular garden waste collection service. This sound financial position allows us once again to invest in key services and the officers who will carry out this work, to ensure that they are all delivered in an even better way to our residents. Amongst the measures outlined in this report I would like to highlight are the establishment of a new council green team of 6 officers to help both residents and businesses achieve energy savings and reduce their carbon footprints. This demonstrates further commitment to our climate change objectives. The expansion of the ranger team to deliver more and better biodiversity outcomes and help conservation groups, and making 6 temporary grounds maintenance staff permanent positions. And finally, 4 permanent planning officers to improve responses to our customers in this important service line. In order to ensure that these improved services can continue to be afforded, there will need to be continuing vigilance over costs, not least inflationary impacts at this time, and delivery of additional revenue targets. On inflationary pressures, this report assumes a blended increase of 57% in our energy costs in 23-24 and 14% in 24-25. Forecasts of substantial increased income via our treasury management investments is factored in as a result of the increase in interest rates since our last report. So, colleagues, I'd like to endorse this report and also offer my thanks to our excellent financial team, ably led by Sue Curtin.
Thank you very much, Councillor Isaac. Any other comments from colleagues? Now, if I may then, colleagues, just to indulge me for a moment, just to repeat some of those items that Councillor Isaac mentioned, I think it's a testament to our financial management that we are able at this most difficult time as far as cost of living to put forward a draft budget that does freeze our element of the council tax. It does do what I committed to do as the new leader when I was appointed in February of this year, to freeze car parking charges. And it does remain the fact that we can be debt-free as a council while still investing in services that deliver what our residents want from us, whilst doing all those things in these really truly testing times where we can look at how we help our residents, where we look at how we can help our businesses. We can do everything that we can to support our voluntary and charitable sector, to support all of their great work and how they support our businesses and our residents, and do what is so important and has been so obviously important since we came out of lockdowns, which is do everything that we can to support some of the truly wonderful arts and cultural organisations that we have in our borough. And I would also like to thank those organisations, because their hard work has also been acknowledged in so many of them being awarded MPO status this week. That really is remarkable for a borough like Basingstoke-Deane to have quite so many MPO organisations being awarded quite so much money. I think we were quite fearful that that would not happen in the world of levelling up when much of the money is disappearing from the southeast, but I am really pleased to see that that's happened. And in that case, we have the recommendations in front of us in the papers. Can I get colleague support for those recommendations? Great. In that case, that is agreed. Thank you very much. Let me go to item 9, which is the Community and Voluntary Sector Grant Funding Review. Councillor Vox.
Thank you, Chair. I'm really pleased to be presenting this paper this evening because it's fundamental, I think. A fundamental thing that we do in the borough is to support our charitable and voluntary sector. A thriving and sustainable sector makes successful places for people to live and want to live in. So in Basingstoke-Deane, we're very fortunate to have a diverse and innovative sector that provides lots of services that are valued by residents and helps us deliver against our priorities as a council. And we have a long tradition of providing significant investment to the sector, so I'm pleased that we're going to continue to do that. This review, which has been quite a challenging one and multifaceted, so I thank officers who have put an extraordinary amount of work into it, and I thank our partners who have helped us with feedback and answering questionnaires and all sorts of other engagement activities as we've gone through this review, so that we can identify ways to improve it and change it, just to make sure we get the best outcomes for residents and that we know our investments are being effectively used. So we propose changing the way we provide strategic funding to provide greater certainty to our key partners. That's what they're asking for, whilst ensuring that our financial support is better aligned with our priorities and strategies. We will continue to support local organisations with councillor grants, which are ward-based, and the Strengthening Communities Grant Scheme, which has run well this year with the support of the BVA. I'm delighted that we're proposing to introduce the new Community Infrastructure Fund that will provide much-needed capital funding for our communities, and use our allocation of UK Shared Prosperity Fund and Rural England Prosperity Fund to establish a range of new funding schemes that will directly benefit our local community and voluntary organisations and businesses. So the proposals outlined in this report demonstrate the value that we as a council place on the excellent work our community and voluntary sector does to make Basingstoke and Deane a great place to live. There are, I think, 7 recommendations that I would seek agreement on, Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Vox. Do I have anybody else wanting to make a contribution?
Yep. I welcome this report, and forgive me, as a councillor representing the rural ward, I'm delighted to see the Rural England Prosperity Fund, £430,000 over the next 2 years for rurally based community organisations. I think that the proposed direction of for all that investment is particularly in terms of low carbon technology and improvements to villages and town centres and green spaces is the right one. So I'm keen that the message goes out to the rural communities that this funding is available. And also, I'm very pleased that the local infrastructure fund has been reborn as the Community Infrastructure Fund, because that was very successful, very popular and very well used by parishes, and so I'm looking forward to recommencing that fund.
Thank you very much, Councillor Isett. As you said, it's really good to see some golden threads here, isn't it? I think it's really important, as you say, Jenny, to ensure we have some 3-year funding processes for those organisations that need that financial stability, and to see that climate golden thread appearing more and more in everything that we do, enabling others to do their bit as well as us doing our bit. So, colleagues, we do have the recommendations in front of us on page 102. As Jenny said, there are 7 of them. Do I have your agreement?
Great.
Brilliant. Lovely. Thank you very much. So in that case, that is agreed. Those are our items for tonight. And I'd like to thank everybody for their attendance. Thank you very much.